Come on. Hi. Look at that. We've got people in here already. So, folks, welcome to the LifterLMS Ask Us Anything call. I can see that Delphine is already here. This is our regular from Canada. It's so nice to be connected to other countries. Delphine says, good morning. Gary made the trip from Winnipeg to Merritt to visit his son and grandson, and he submitted a question. So yes, Delphine, I'll get to the questions here shortly. In the meantime, I want to ask all of the other listeners, viewers, however you see this, go ahead and put any of your questions into the chat or comments, whatever. We usually like to ask people like who they are, where they're from. That's how we know Delphine's from Canada. So go ahead, put in like who you are, where you're from, and then some kind of question. You got something that's tickling your fancy in LifterLMS. We'd love to kind of break that out, expose that, and then see what you got going on. The other side of the coin that I always mention when we open these, or at least I always try to mention when we open these, is that there's a 55% off coupon at LifterLMS.com should you choose to do something besides the free core plugin that we offer. So if you need to purchase one of our add-ons, feel free to get that 55% off coupon by going to LifterLMS.com/AMA-gift. LifterLMS.com/AMA-gift. And let's see, what else do we have? Is there anything else I should be mentioning, Emily?
I don't think so.
Goodness gracious. I have a question for you, Emily, and I'm going to put you on the spot because I didn't have a chance to ask you before we went live.
Yeah.
And I understand if I put you on the spot and you're like, Kurt's a jerk or Kurt's stupid. It could be Kurt's stupid. I'm going to be very, very upfront and honest. This could be a Kurt is stupid moment. I was talking to a client on a Zoom call yesterday, and I just didn't have time to look at this yet because I've been busy with other obligations. We upgraded social learning like a week or two ago. And then I was in their website yesterday and social learning was activated, but I'm having a brain fart. I can't remember where to see or how to know or how to assign people to. I thought it was automatic that they got the discussion groups for either the course or the membership they were in. But when I was in her website, I didn't see the discussion groups for the courses or memberships.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they should be automatic. They should be like, there's a timeline page, and that timeline page queries whatever courses or memberships you're a part of, and then shows you the discussion groups for that course or membership. So was there like a timeline page configured for her that was set?
I saw the timeline page, and then it looked like... No, it did. I didn't see it. I thought it used to be on the profile page, like on the profile page in the left sidebar. I thought it used to have like the list of your discussion groups right there. But instead, what I saw was the About Me section, and there were some like links that they put in for their About Me section. But I didn't see the discussion groups from the profile page.
Right. They shouldn't be on you mean on the social learning profile page where they have their banner and photo and everything?
Yeah, see, this is where I think I'm getting confused. So I go into... They activated social learning, but then they didn't put any of the links in the in the menu. So then people started seeing my profile in their dashboards, and then going and filling out their dashboards. And then she was like, well, how do they get to the discussion groups? And I was like, well, I don't see that you have anything linked to your main menu to get them to the discussion groups. So then I started getting like, well, how's that going to work? And then for lack of better descriptions, let me see if I can find. So it's not in the profile, it's in the timeline. So when you're signed into the timeline,
okay,
as a user, that's where you should see the discussion groups.
Right. There should be that left-hand profile. I could share my screen too.
All right. I'm going to sign in as one of her users here in the background. And apologies to anyone else that came here and thought that, we were going to work on your stuff. I want to find out where I'm going first. And so gosh, my brain, I tell you what, this last couple of days has just been a fog for me. It's
I
not
feel you.
timeline. It's like my timeline, right? No, it is timeline. There it is. Yeah, so it is there, but it's not. Boy, it's not prominent. It doesn't say discussion groups. It says my courses, and under my courses, it says dive into. Okay,
Yeah. And
no, so it's not. It is doing it. But it's not. It's not intuitive. It says browse stories.
uh-huh.
At the. You know what? I don't think this is proprietary. I think I'm going to take. Oh, you're seeing it. So yeah, you're.
Yeah.
I was looking at her screen. Do your screen share again,
Yeah.
because it's kind of like there. So see where it says browse stories.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird, right? That's so. So they think. My client thinks that's going to say discussion groups, which is probably makes more sense. I don't know what stories are. And then, so where it says my courses, those are the discussion groups. But when you click on those, it visually, depending on how many you're in, right, looks like the same page coming back up.
Right.
So they have a student that's in one course. So when they click on my courses, that timeline doesn't change. It looks like it's the same page.
Right. Right.
Hence the confusion. So if I was going to make it less confusing, if I was going to, well, I'm not going to say I'm going to do anything, but let's say I wanted to make it less confusing. Instead of my courses, wouldn't it make more sense to change that to like my discussions or my groups or my whatever?
Yeah, I think so. I think the idea is that you have your little course portals for that course, but I think you could change it with local translate, and it wouldn't really be super hard to swap that.
And then I'm just going to ask you this question. Why? Because I can, because you're pretty smart. Let's say that someone is in the home insurance course, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't it be cool to have a link that goes back to my home insurance discussion group, right? Would I just take that hyperlink and then add that to the course page?
Yeah, definitely. That would be a great idea.
Yeah, so that would make more sense for this project. And that way I didn't have to share their page. I don't know, like part of me, it's so weird when you work on a client website, you're like, well, they should be happy if I'm sharing their page, right? They're actually giving them exposure for their project. But then some people would be like, I didn't want those people to know what I was doing. And so that could happen too, right? You don't want to be goofy.
Yeah. I think this is Scott had asked in chat, what platform is this? This is LifterLMS social learning. And so there's a lot of ways that you can integrate social learning with your course. Like Kurt said, drop a link in your course to the channel. Change the names like my discussions instead of my courses. I think that having a private community, this is one of the best ways to do it.
Well, for me, and now it's going to sound weird because I was asking questions and now people are going to think I don't know what I'm talking about. But to me, social learning is the best way to sample community within your website. If you have LifterLMS and you have the Infinity, bundle, if you just turn on social learning, this is your opportunity to see, oh, do my students even want to talk to each other? Like, do they want to have discussions? Would it support? But then I think I'm going to be a little contrarian, and most of my setups aren't on social learning. It's like I have LifterLMS and then I have like Fluent Community, right? And so then it kind of turns into like, okay, so now we have real like timelines and discussion groups and things like that. And so it's a little bit different. And so it's been a while since I've worked in social learning. And then when my customer was like, how do my students talk to each other? I was like, well, there's discussion groups for every course and membership. And they're like, well, where's that? And I was like, it's right here. But they were only signed up in one They were only signed up in one course, and that's why I got confused, because it said my courses, and I clicked on my courses, and then the page didn't change. It was the same, but it's because it's in the timeline format, and so it looked the same. Whereas
Yeah.
if you have multiple courses, you have the timeline, but then it breaks down into each course is its own timeline.
Yeah, and the styling is exactly the same.
Yeah, and because the styling's the same, when I clicked on it, it didn't really change. And then I was like, well, it's not working, but it is working.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's working. It's kind of a basic thing. It would be cool if there was like a featured image brought in here somehow. I know stories isn't that's not very intuitive. Usually when we think of stories, you think of the vertical the vertical format temporary type of content that lasts for 24 hours. If you put up a story on Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat, you're going to see that goes away in 24 hours, and it's usually going to be that vertical format. So this is like that same terminology turned into something a little bit less exciting. But we have Mark Hansen from Minnesota. I am getting my artwork from my vendor this week. I'm considering signing up soon so I get familiar with the platform a little and start setting up my quiz questions. I want an immediate pop-up for wrong answers. Is there an onboard utility embedded, or is it a plugin that is superior for achieving this goal? We almost had this question come up. This is a pretty frequent question for us now, is how to interrupt quiz questions in LifterLMS to have a pop-up or to give feedback on the wrong answer. And that's not a part of LifterLMS out of the box. How LifterLMS out of the box works is that you get to the end of the quiz and it gives you total, like, you completed the quiz. This is all of your questions. There are other platforms other than LifterLMS quizzes you can use, like H5P is a really good one, and Kurt has content on lifterlms.com about how to integrate things like H5P or SCORM, but it works for H5P too, which is a little bit simpler, into your LMS website. So you can have those quizzes with the advanced feedback that give you feedback every individual question. Alternatively, JavaScript if you're a custom developer, but I feel like H5P is the most approachable for that. What do you think, Kurt?
Yeah, H5P is a good suggestion. Like, I'm like, wow, look at Emily just dipping right in here and grabbing something out of the Wayback Machine. We make so much content, I forget what we have sometimes. I just went and grabbed the link, threw it onto the screen, so if anyone wants to know how to find it, they can. If you go to lifterlms.com and you go to the search bar and you type in H5P, it's the first thing that pops up, right? This was a blog post we did on it. H5P is amazingly powerful. Like, they just came out with a bunch new options for H5P, like literally a month or 6 weeks ago. And you try to keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening in the e-learning space, but there's so much developing that it's impossible to be an expert on everything. But H5P is fun. So H5P, you add the plug into your website. It integrates really well. For each feature of H5P, you have to kind of like download and activate it. And so there's like flashcards, there's quizzes, there's, match the pictures, there's all these things. But to Emily's point, you can set it up so that you can get instant feedback, positive or negative, from doing something. And if you really needed to make that part of your like grading, so H5P for me, just for the record, when I use H5P in my projects, they are for non-graded knowledge checks. They're like interactivity tools for students. That's the way I use them. If you want to make it part of your grading sequence and things like that, then you end up having to employ other tools to synchronize the results of H5P with the reporting in LifterLMS. And that's where like GrassBlade and GrassBlade LRS and things like that would come in. But if you're looking to just be more interactive with students, this is a really great tool to implement.
Yeah.
It's
Definitely.
kind of a hard discussion to have, right? Because I think the Lifter quiz system is pretty freaking amazing. We added the question banks, right? So we added question banks to it, and so while the question banks are isolated to their assigned quiz, you could have a question bank of 200 questions, and then you could say, out of the bank, use 100 questions and use, so many multiple choice, so many true and false, so many essay or whatever you want to say. And so if you have students going through, like, say it's like an annual recertification thing, it's going to randomize out of that question bank for you, right? So that's going to be almost like a customized approach to each student. And then without them seeing the same questions every time, that kind of thing. So we have the question banks. We have, if you use advanced quizzes, you get the different question types. And we do have the, what do we call that? Answer clarification feature. So
Yeah.
that answer clarification feature, it does give the answer clarification, but it does it as the whole thing at the end, not with each question. You have to remember that the way our quiz engine is built, you get to the end, and when you submit the quiz, that's the trigger that analyzes everything, not question by question, but quiz by quiz. So that's why it's set up the way that it is. I think it's a pretty power packed feature. It just might not be in the order that some people would prefer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was trying to think. You could actually take H5P elements. So let's say that, because realistically, when I think of someone that's using a quiz and they want to, like, answer question 1 and then get the correct answer to question 1, answer question 2, and then get the correct answer to question 2. Like, when I see quizzes that want to work in that way, I think they're still in teaching mode, not in knowledge check mode, if that makes sense, right? And so because H5P doesn't have to be the quiz, right? H5P is a short code that you can put right into your content. And so you could have, like, here's 20 paragraphs of content, and you go, wow, that's a lot of content. I don't want to do a full quiz on 20 paragraphs of content for one lesson. And so let's say that you have a really long section of learning. And so you could pepper in some H5P interactive moments with the learning that's like, oh, hey, here's 5 paragraphs, and then here's a knowledge check with 3 questions. And then it could do the whole ask a question, clarify the answer thing. And then you're still in learning mode, right? You're still in teaching and learning mode. And then at the end, you could have the LifterLMS advanced quiz that is the knowledge grade, right? And that really, really knows if they've gotten the content or not. So I think that's a pretty good strategy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Mark says it's a knowledge check thing, but I want them to get it right in the end. Yeah. But when you say right in the end, I'm assuming that's a timing issue and not like get it correct in the end. So, yeah, for me, it would be almost like maybe I would put in, like, again, I think H5P is a great solution. So maybe you put in the H5P asset right at the end of the learning content, and then they transfer into the quiz and really do a test. It's almost like the H5P would be like hey, are you sure you're ready to take this quiz? But remember, with the quizzes, you can always let them take multiple attempts. So you can program in like unlimited attempts, which I think is standard. But then you could set, 2 attempts, 3 attempts, 5 attempts, whatever you want to do. So we try to offer a lot of options through the quiz engine. Unfortunately, asking if it could be like re-engineered to do one question at a time, you would go a little bit crazy that way. And just like that, Emily is gone. All right. Folks, we are still open for questions. So if you have any questions that you want to put in. Delphine, by the way, I checked the spreadsheet. I didn't see anything submitted from Gary. So you know what? You guys have, hold on. You guys also have office hours access. So he might have submitted that to another, to the other form. Let's see if we have the spreadsheet for that and see if Gary's on the other spreadsheet. Nope, I don't see anything from Gary. I don't see any questions from Gary. So I don't have anything. If you have a question, Delphine, go ahead and put that in. Mark says, This is the one we already did. Am I out? I'm out of place. Sorry. Well, that's it. That was a great show, folks. We'll see you next week. I'm lying. You know, I was on a podcast this morning with Chris on a LMS cast episode.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm having a busy day. I was on the LMS cast. I was on WP Tonic. Now I'm on the Ask Us Anything call. I'll be on the Office Hours Mastermind call. Thursdays are my busy days. Adnan says, apologies if this has been asked before. Is there a chance of integrating AI with LifterLMS platform in the future? Adnan, I'm not going to lie. I have AI dysphoria. I have AI fatigue in a big way. I get this question nonstop. So you're not a bad person. Don't take it personal. I just did a podcast that was completely about AI. And like I literally just had a client last week add AI to their website through a WordPress integration, like to help with alt text with images and things like that. Constantly getting questions about using AI to generate learning content, using AI to grade quizzes. And here's a weird thing about AI. I don't know if we sometimes I don't think we think about it enough, but way back in the day, the calculator was AI. Like people don't think about that, right? But the calculator was AI. Having a spreadsheet that would do like sorting, how you sort your spreadsheet alphabetically or chronologically or whatever. Like believe it or not, that's artificial intelligence. That's like so when we discuss artificial intelligence, AI, in my mind, I'm going back 30, 40 years and how we've developed this over time. So there's this long story arc for AI. And if we think about a large learning model, this large learning model is it's not generative AI yet. It's not thinking, it's doing pattern recognition. And so what I run into a lot is I'll run into clients that say, oh, I want to inject AI into my project. And I go, great. At what level? What are you looking to do? For instance, if I have a support tool inside my website, I'm not going to plug in OpenAI to my support tool to answer my support tickets. Like that to me is just whoa. You want to unleash the whole internet to answer your support questions for your business. So at that level, AI to me is like, well, that's a silly endeavor. AI to answer support tickets should be trained on like that company's content. So then you have to go, okay, well, how much content does that company have? So how much content does it take for AI to be effective in a certain realm of what we would consider intelligence, right? And our definition of intelligence consistently changes based on the amount of content we can train it on. And so I think that's kind of where my AI fatigue falls in a little bit, is like, okay, everybody wants to leverage artificial intelligence as some kind of, crutch, catapult, trampoline, whatever you want to call it, to improve or have a higher impact with their project. Okay. But then the next level of that question is, what were you thinking? Like what were you thinking AI was going to magically do for your website? And then once we get down to that root cause, like, okay, so what's your definition of AI? What magical thing do you think it's going to do? And then we go, okay, well, then that makes sense. Let's leverage that. So like I use AI consistently, almost on a daily basis with my e-learning development. And typically the way that I leverage AI, Adnan, is I make a lot of video content. And so AI is phenomenal at transcribing that video content and then summarizing or highlighting that video transcript to make a summary that's great sister product for the video. So the video is where the learning came from. The video is me, right? That's not AI. The video is what came out of me, but then I use AI tools to summarize, break it down, put it into outline form, create a chronological, like more hierarchical, sensical way to put that content in front of students, maybe break things into micro learning or into summary pieces. But I think if you look at what I'm doing there, that's not something that became something that was injected into the LifterLMS plugin. It's AI as an external tool that is helping me develop the content. And it's helping me do it at an incredible rate. Like I'm developing stuff at a really fast rate right now. You might be looking at AI from a different perspective. Maybe you're saying, how could I use AI to increase my marketing net to get, more people to see my product? How could I leverage AI to have a higher conversion rate of the people that are visiting my website? So then your AI example in that situation would be more like a search engine optimization kind of marketing perspective. And so when you're saying, is there a chance of integrating AI with the LifterLMS platform in the future? Yeah. Could we have AI tools that help us build courses? Absolutely. Could we have AI tools that help us with marketing and CRM implementation? Yeah, absolutely. But those integrations typically come through other tools like third-party tools or WP Fusion, other tools like that leverage, like, if someone does this, then that. If this happens, then this happens. If I get this data point triggers this thing. And so that happens pretty frequently right now, but it's not something that's in the core LifterLMS plugin. I may have gone like a way roundabout way on that, Emily. Did you think I lost people on that?
No, I think that makes sense. Also, there's like Pickaxe, or there's other ones too, but it's an AI service where you get to train your own AI bot and put it in your website. And it's like a little mini GPT that's trained on whatever you train it on. And it's served to your users as if it's your AI tool, which is cool. I've seen some Lifter users work with stuff like that, where you get to provide on your student dashboard an AI for people to talk to.
Yeah, but I go back to, you have to have a ton of content. AI takes an amazingly huge amount of content to be able to use its pattern recognition to come up with answers that are cohesive and make sense to a working class audience, right? Like it's for it to assimilate reasonable answers to things. It takes an inordinate amount of content to be able to piece those things together and make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think people grossly underestimate how much content it actually takes to train AI.
Right.
Yeah. I sound like I'm a poo-pooer on AI, and it's so hypocritical because, like I said, I use it often, but I'm not. Let's see. I'm trying to answer Delphine's question here too. It's LifterLMS VIP for the group, Delphine. So let me put the link there and paste and share. Delphine, this is the LifterLMS. Did it not come up? It didn't. I got to put it up there. There it goes. Facebook.com/groups/LifterLMS VIP. Adnan says thank you. I hope I answered your question well. Alpha Pros Consulting jumps in and says, yeah, that's how I use AI also. It can really help streamline activities. I think the thing with AI that I find, I'm going to run the risk of saying tedious. I'm going to run the risk of saying tedious, is that you go into these ambiguous chat windows and you ask it these questions, and then you end up copying the data and then trying to insert it somewhere else. And I think a lot of the AI tools that people are looking for is where it takes that process out and it like creates the agent or the interface that makes it happen more automatically, right? Like, for instance, there's that tool WriteBlogger. I used it for a while. I don't use it too much anymore. But there's that tool WriteBlogger where everything's kind of like pre-prompted, right? Like take it like if I did it if I was using ChatGPT, I would say, hey, I recorded this YouTube video and I want you to take this YouTube video, create a transcript for it. And from that transcript, make me a summary post and blah, all that stuff, right? But in WriteBlogger, I literally just go and click like YouTube to blog post. And you click that and you put the post in and you click enter and it goes, Bob's your uncle, here's your summary post. Like you didn't have to write the prompt to make it happen, right? And so then I think what a lot of people are thinking is like, what if we took that Write Blogger example and we like leapfrog that directly into our WordPress website, and in the admin, edit, edit or add a blog post, was actually like this little modal there that where you just like put in a YouTube link and click create post, and it did all that automatically in your WordPress website. Like, oh my God, I just invented a new WordPress plugin. Look at that. I'm amazing. Right. So like that would be like a cool idea. People, like, I think people are looking for that level of connection. Like, I want this to be intuitive. I want to be able to go to wherever I'm putting the content in and then just put in a link, click a button, and have it generate the stuff. But that's not how it works yet. Like you're still going to either some abstract, nondescript, weird page where you put in the prompt and then it gives you an answer, and then you copy out that answer and repurpose it somewhere, or some pre-formatted, pre-prompted tool, like I mentioned with like Write Blogger is a great example for that, and that works. Or like Opus AI, right? You take a video link and you dump it into Opus AI, and then it gives you 20 clips out of that with captions and stuff like that. But there's a giant prompt inside that tool somewhere that is like, the client's going to put in this video link. Your job is to break it into pieces using highlights out of the transcript that seem like they're the highest converting pieces of text, and then add those video links that go with that text out of the transcript, and then add the captions. I'm sure it's a giant prompt that does that, and that's probably why Opus AI costs hundreds of dollars a year to have. See, I'm trying to oversimplify something that's complicated. There seem to be several under the link you sent. You sent them. Delphine, I'm confused. There seem to be several under the link you sent them. Several under the link. Let me go to the, I'm going to go to Facebook. So maybe I'm missing something. Maybe Gary's in Facebook and he's lost over there. Yeah, we got a lot of people asking questions in Facebook lately. Yeah, we still have a couple to answer. Oh, I've been trying to change the color of the continue button. And I love it because Jenny Jacobs is in there like answering questions. That's about LifterLMS Labs. So that's done. That one's a good one. Not sure if course catalog pages or more enrolled, but course catalog title. Okay. That's actually a good one that you could actually cover here. I'm going to steal it right off the Facebook page and put it right in because this comes up a lot. Boom, paste, share, save, share. There we go. Not sure why, but on my course catalog page, there's no learn more or enroll button on the course catalog tile. I've searched and searched and cannot find any setting that would either turn it on or off. If you click on the whole tile, it goes to the info page. Yeah, but they want a call to action button or text. Is that adding a button? So I know that we can create a custom catalog page. Like I would normally do that in Bricks or something like that, right? So I would have like take my featured image, here's my title, here's my call to action button, and then I would map that all over with some kind of a query. But is it, didn't we add, like in SkyPilot, can we add a call to action button?
I don't think so.
Yeah, my brain is like, this is like another one of those things where people are like, I just assumed that it would magically leap to, but that tile and the learn more button, those go to the course page or the course sales page if you have that activated. It doesn't go directly to a purchase link.
Yeah. And it's complicated because you could, and that's the SkyPilot feature. Each theme does it a little bit differently. I know Buddy Boss has also some features that are really well done for promoting a little click button. There's the option for featured pricing information, and I don't think you can, oh, you can format this. You can't do a link though. So you can't like hyperlink that. Having a purchase button itself on the page is probably something that would be a little custom loop if you were to build. And this is a little complicated. This is some WordPress power user stuff to build your own little custom catalog and then to import a button to that loop that dynamically links to maybe a purchase option from that post type. That you'd be using like advanced custom fields and creating your own query loop at that point for your catalog. But if you're an Elementor person, a Bricks person, if you're used to this kind of more advanced logic, it's definitely doable. You just got to have something a little more than out of the box.
Yeah, it's like we're trying to leap over 2 steps in the process, right? Because the way that LifterLMS is originally set up, it's like, here's the tile, which is like the teaser, right? And then it leads to an extended explanation of what someone's going to sign up for. And that extended explanation of what someone's going to sign up for is where the option for the access plan is to enroll, sign up, whatever. And so what you're looking to do is basically leapfrog over that step and go direct to a purchase link. And the purchase link is the link that's part of the access plan. But I think, yeah, you would have to customize that. You would have to create that somewhere else, whether it's a custom, a custom course catalog with its own call to action button, and the call to action button is the purchase link. You could absolutely do that. Or look at other solutions, custom CSS or whatever that's going to add elements to that area.
Yeah.
That's a unique one. I'd like the whole idea of, so then we get back to like, again, this is kind of taking me full circle in my mind about like this whole AI discussion or like changing things, right? I immediately go to, well, let's just create a custom catalog page. Like, cause I think about like when you were making those Elementor tutorials a few years ago, Emily, it's, to me, that's just like, okay, let's just create a custom catalog page. But a lot of people are like making these assumptions in 2025 that, oh no, I should just be able to think this option and it should manifest itself, like whether it be through AI or just talking it through. But realistically, I think about how would a big company do it? Like if I was working again at Suzuki or Ducati at one of those big companies I was at, how would they do it? I'm like, they would create a custom catalog and add those pages. Like that's just how they would do it. We make assumptions that in the big business world, things are automated at every level, and they're just not. It's just not there yet. So yeah, I think in this particular case, it would be a custom catalog page, format it yourself, link it yourself, and then you're done. If you've got 1,000 courses, that's, quite the task. But most course creators have like 1 to maybe 10 courses that they're promoting. So making a page with 1 to 10, custom course tiles and links, that's probably not a big ask. That'd be a pretty simple one to do.
Yeah.
Do you think I'm crazy? Did I say that right? I didn't say it in a way that was hurtful, right?
No.
I said that in a nice way. Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. I got to double check myself today. I don't know what's the matter with me today, but I feel like in my mind, I feel like I'm being blunt, and I'm trying to be, gracious.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm putting that response into Facebook too. We jumped in on that at about 30 minutes in. Boom. See the replay. People probably hate that response.
Right.
What do you mean I got to go look at something else? All right. Jenny had a question that came up, or was it Jenny that had a question that came up earlier? I don't know. I got to find it. All right. Let me go back to where we're at. I'm too distracted today. Since Formidable Forms, here comes Scott Hill. Since Formidable Forms, Gravity Forms, WP Forms, Ninja Forms are included with the bundles, but you've spoken highly about Fluent Forms. Could you rank them? Yeah, Scott. I rank Fluent Forms at the top because it's the one I use. I'm just being a smarty pants. We should be really clear, like included with the bundles. Scott, you're right that we integrate with those tools. We don't include those tools, right? So like WP Forms has a free version. They also have a premium version. So there's certain things where you're going to want the premium version to integrate with LifterLMS tools that you want to, right? So let's be clear. We don't give you Gravity Forms. We don't give you Formidable Forms, but we have integration with those tools. Remember that other tools also integrate with us, or maybe we don't create the integration, but the integration comes from them. So I mention Fluent Forms a lot, but that's because I have an agency license to use Fluent CRM Pro, Fluent Forms Pro, Fluent Support, Fluent Community. And so this gives me a suite of tools that are all connected together, right? So if I use Fluent CRM Pro, and Fluent CRM Pro automatically integrates with Lifter, I don't have to do anything special. Got a bug. If I have Fluent CRM Pro in my website and Lifter LMS, they automatically go boom, integrate. Like they automatically lock together, which to me just makes it easier for me and my clients. And then because I like Fluent CRM Pro and they have their other associated products, based on needs assessments with my clients, I'm able to go, okay, you need the CRM tool. Do you need the form tool? Do you need the support tool? Do you need the community tool? Do you need the Fluent booking tool? And because all of those branches interact really well together as a family of tools, it makes things very consistent for me and my users. So I apologize. I owe the whole Lifter LMS community a giant apology that, I keep mentioning Fluent Forms and Fluent CRM, but that's because those are the tools I use most frequently. There is nothing wrong with WP Forms, Ninja Forms, Gravity Forms, Formidable Forms, any of those. In fact, out of all of them, this is where I'm going to sound like I'm contradicting myself, but I am a contrarian. I'm willing to be wrong sometimes. I think Gravity Forms has some of the best options and features available within its like little environment too, because you have Gravity Forms and then Gravity View and a bunch of, like, for instance, Gravity has an add-on for using Square as a payment gateway. And then you can start to get like super creative, right? You could say, oh, well, I don't want to use Stripe. I want to use Square because I have a brick and mortar business that uses Square. So I'm going to integrate with Gravity Forms. I'm going to integrate the Square payment platform into my Gravity Forms. And then I'm going to use an automation tool to say that when somebody submits this Gravity form with this Gravity form payment, I'm going to integrate this Lifter LMS access plan or give people access to this course or membership based on that successful thing. And so you could literally say Lifter LMS doesn't work with Square directly, but now you could say, well, if I prefer Square, I could do it using Gravity Forms. Is there a little bit of a leap to make that happen? Sure, but it's possible to put all that together, right? And so, Scott, when you say could I rank them? Again, it's just personal preference, right? I use Fluent because it's what I have, but I personally think Gravity is probably the number one form tool, and then I like Fluent, and then I like WP Forms. I like Ninja Forms would fall in after that, and I think Formidable is at the bottom of the stack for me. But that's, for me, that's personal preference because I really don't have a lot of experience in Formidable Forms. Emily, do you have any opinions that you want to throw out there?
I think Gravity Forms is really great. It's like the original one. I use it whenever I can. It has like the most interoperability across the ecosystem. And then like WS Form or Fluent Forms is also pretty good. Secondary.
Totally forgot about WS Forms. Mark's a really nice guy too. Yeah. Not you, Mark. Not the Mark on the call. Mark, the guy that owns WS Forms.
The Mark on the call is not a nice guy, but WS Forms Mark. I'm just kidding. Yeah. If you want to go with businesses run by people named Mark, WS Form is a great tool, and it integrates with Lifter LMS. They have their own Lifter LMS integration, and so it has some unique features that our Lifter LMS Forms integration just doesn't really have, because they're dedicated to forms and they're dedicated to the community. Mark's in chat like, what? No, you're a real nice person, Mark. I'm sure you're from Minnesota, so I'm from Minnesota too, and yeah.
Got to stick together with the cold weather. Adam Silver's a Gravity Forms person. He says Gravity Forms for the win. contact form 7. Yeah, okay, sure. Okay, throw whatever you want out there. So as our joking around is indicating, you can use any form tool you want. Really, honestly, it doesn't matter. Find one that you're comfortable with, one that you can use, one that meets your needs. Yeah, I can build a lot of customization and automation in with Fluent Form. So once you get comfortable with what you're using, for instance, I can say, here's a lead magnet. On that lead magnet is a Fluent Form. I could have a radio button with like 10 options. And then I can create a tag off of each of one of those options. And then I can create an automation in Fluent CRM that says, hey, based on the lead magnet's answer with the 10 options, those 10 options can activate 10 different options for email messaging or sales funneling based off of their responses in the lead magnet, right? And so I can create these incredibly personalized and interactive experiences for the user based on that deeper knowledge of how that form tool works and the automations based off of it, right? And so it's just understanding that stuff. Sometimes you just want a form that people can enroll on, and you know what? Lifter has that coming out of the box. So sometimes you don't even need some of the stuff. Now you got to throw his last name out there to look like you're really connected, Adam, right? Mark Westergaard. Is it Westergaard or Westgard? I thought it was Westgard.
Westgard. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. We have a thing from Compass Rose Consulting, and this takes us back a few minutes in our discussion, but can you have 2 different catalog pages? Yes. If we extrapolate the conversation that we were just having, you can have as many catalog pages as you want. Another thing that you can do, let's say you have, I'm going to throw this out there. Let's say you have a large e-learning enterprise. You've got 200 courses, and they're on all different things. Maybe one's on business management, one's on personal development. You've got different courses on communication, productivity ones. Maybe you've got some technician training courses, right? That are hands-on, right? And so you've got all of these. You got 200 courses, but you've got all these different categories of courses. You could take your course catalog and you could split it up by categories. And so you could say, here's the course catalog for technicians. Here's the course catalog for sales. Here's the course catalog for parts. Here's the course catalog for communication and personal development. Here's the course catalog for leadership. You could literally do that. And then each of those catalogs maybe has 5 or 10 of your courses in it, right? And what's cool about that is you can have those courses have more than one category. So maybe I've got one that's going to be like communication. So do I need communication training for the parts department? Yes. Do I need it for the sales department? Absolutely. Do I need it for HR? Absolutely. Do I need it for leadership and personal development? Yes. And so I could take that course, put multiple categories on it, and have that same course come up in multiple catalogs. Bada boom, bada bing. You're smiling like a Cheshire cat over there, Emily. What's in your head?
Oh, I'm just thinking about goofing around.
Yeah. Does that relate in 2 different member areas? That's another great question. So I can have that course come up multiple places, right? But when someone enrolls in that course, they've enrolled in that course. And so it doesn't create like different member areas, right? It's just a way of displaying that product in more than one storefront, if I'm going to say that in a more clear way. Membership is different than courses. So you can have memberships and you can have courses. You can have, again, let's use the example of 200 courses. So let's say that maybe I treat the memberships as a way to block courses together. So if I did it as memberships and I said, these are the 5 courses that I think parts people should take, and these are the 5 courses that salespeople should take, and these are the 5 courses, and I put them as memberships, and they're automatically bundled together. So someone signs up for the parts membership, and they're auto-enrolled into those 5 courses. And then someone signs up for the sales membership, and they're automatically enrolled into those 5 courses. And someone takes the HR membership, and they're automatically enrolled into their 5 courses. They're going to be in. So let's say someone signs up for parts and they get that communication course as part of their membership. They're only in the parts membership, but they're also in the communications course. And when HR signs up for that same membership, they're automatically going to be in that communications course. So if you had, now we're going to go full circle, if you had social learning installed, they would all be in the discussion group for the communication course because they're all in the same course, but they're in separate memberships. So then if you had a discussion group for HR, they would only be discussing stuff in the HR membership discussion. But if they were in the communications course discussion, they would be communicating with everybody in that course. See, we gone crazy today.
This is true. That would be a great way to condense your social learning so you don't have a million tabs open, because then what you could do, like Kurt had mentioned on the sidebar, there's that My Courses section. There's also a My Membership section for the timeline when you have that active. And what we could do at that point is simply hide the My Courses area. You can see My Memberships is not on here because I'm probably not enrolled.
Not the membership.
I'm not in the membership, but we could do like probably a little CSS trick and mess with it or something. And that way your social learning would be a little more straightforward. You can even remove the sidebar entirely and simply link to it like Kurt had mentioned, drop it in your membership page, drop in your courses page, just a straight link to the timeline.
Yeah. I'm creating two very different types of courses, and I want them to look different once inside the website. Oh, now we're getting crazy. I remember, Emily, you did a thing on Elementor 5 years ago, and that was creating different templates for different courses. And then you even went so far as to say different memberships could activate different templates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a really interesting one. And of course, that was years ago in Elementor. You could do it in other platforms now, but you could leverage, if you want the courses to look different, you can create templates in your theme or page builder and then assign those templates to those courses.
Right. And that's, if you have SkyPilot from LifterLMS or any full site editing theme, that's going to be out of the box with your theme. It takes a little bit of a learning curve, but so is any page builder, and most of the page builders can do it as well. The challenge is that templatizing depends on the page builder you have. So if you're using something like Elementor, you'll need tangible lifter elements or Liftor, something to register that the lesson post type is available to be templatized. For some reason, the way LifterLMS classifies lessons in the code makes it complicated for page builders to use templates on lessons sometimes. So just be kind of aware if you don't see lessons as an option, because when you say you want the courses to look distinctly different, I imagine you also want the lesson pages to look distinctly different for that course. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's a pretty common thing to say, like not just the course page itself, the landing page, but also each lesson within that course needs to have a unique look. And if that's the case, there's, like Kurt said, you could do a tagging, a taxonomy maybe for your lessons, and then separate those by template or something, depending on the page builder and the options available.
Yeah. That's worked out pretty good. And then I already answered that one. Okay. I was looking at our Facebook page where I'm supposed to answer people there too. And I'm like, okay, do I have everybody answered? Is everybody good? So we're actually doing a really good job today. Jenny Jacobs put a question into LifterLMS Mastermind, but I think with the last 3 or 4 minutes we have here, we could probably take this one. This is Jenny, and Jenny's been with us for a long time, folks. Some of the issues that Jenny runs into is she will customize something and then lose track of where she customized it, and then it doesn't work later. That happens sometimes. So you got to keep notes for things. Jenny says, I figured this out once, and now I can't remember what I did. I'm using advanced videos with Vimeo and Elementor, I have the appearance in Vimeo sent to not show the video bylines. Okay. And then they don't show when I watch the video on Vimeo. However, in Lifter, they are showing up. How can I get them removed within my course? What's the byline? What's the video byline? Is she thinking
It might be the timeline, like the scroll bar on the video.
when someone says bylines, I think they're talking about like closed captioning.
Oh, that could be it. They don't show when I watch a video in Vimeo. However, in Lifter, they're showing up. I can't get them removed in my course. Oh no.
If the closed captioning is off in Vimeo, it should be off in the site because it's just embedding.
Yeah, the Vimeo account name displayed alongside the logo. Oh, byline is the Vimeo account name displayed alongside the logo. If that's the case, the player, like when you have the little face in the corner, and with Vimeo Pro account, you can turn off a bunch of checkboxes and then hide the video title and the video author and everything. Yeah, the Lifter should respect the title and everything. It should respect all of the embed settings from Vimeo, but I don't know. And
Yeah.
Adam says might be account name.
Yeah. Well, let's see if she shows up to the after hours call today.
Yeah.
All right. Folks, I think that kind of wraps us up. Adam says byline might be the account name, and I think that's what she's talking about. Yeah. So I think we are in. We are good. This has been a good call. Folks, thanks for everybody for coming. I was a little nervous at the beginning. I didn't think we'd have content, and then we finished out with content, which is great. We will see everybody next Thursday, same time, same channel. And until then, have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful day. I'm going to hit the same video on the way out, and bada boom, bada